Alright guys, today we have more PlayStation info to go over and discuss. We have two topics we're going to be focusing on in this video, so before we dive into them, do me a favor and hit that like button to help the video out and show your support. It helps way more than you know, and hit that subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel. But we're starting here with the announcement of Deathloop getting delayed. Deathloop is an upcoming timed PlayStation exclusive coming from Arcane. And it's a game that honestly looks pretty good. It's something that I'm definitely interested in. I am a little bit disappointed to hear that it's getting delayed, but still, it's targeting 2021. It's not being delayed into 2022, which is good. And so the studio actually put out a little post here saying that we've made the decision to delay the launch of Deathloop to September 14th, 2021. We are committed to quality and preserving our team's ambitions for Deathloop while ensuring the health and safety of everyone at Arcane. We'll be using this extra time to accomplish our goal, create a fun, stylish, and mind-bending player experience. We apologize for the extended wait and thank you all for your passion and excitement. It is the fuel that powers our creativity and our hard work. We can't wait to show you more Deathloop soon. And so, yeah, that's what they announced today. I don't think this is that big of a deal. I mean, we still have Returnal coming at the end of this month, and then in June, we have Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. But I think we're obviously starting to see just how many games are being impacted by everything that has went down over the past year and a half. It's definitely causing a lot of games to need more time, which I have no problem with. Obviously, I'm always for games getting delayed. The last thing I want to see is a game pushed out that just simply isn't ready to release. So there you go. Deathloop was originally scheduled to be launching in May, but now it's being pushed to mid-September of this year. So it will be interesting to see what other games Deathloop goes up against. It seems like we're going to be getting Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, assuming that Ghostwire Tokyo doesn't get delayed, pretty close to one another, which is interesting. So just wanted to briefly let you guys know about that. Let me know how interested you are in Deathloop, but we are going to move on from that and talk about something that, in my opinion, is much more interesting, and that is the rumor that Kojima Productions, their next game, may end up being published by Microsoft, which is something that, frankly, would be very disappointing to me, only because, to me, it seems like when it comes to Kojima, you know, looking at the relationship he's had with Sony over the years, you just assume that his next game is going to come to PlayStation, right? Now, this is just a rumor, and believe it or not, it does kind of tie into what we talked about yesterday. We covered that new horror game called Abandoned that was announced kind of randomly yesterday out of nowhere for PlayStation 5. It is a full PlayStation 5 exclusive, and it seems like it's going to be like a horror survival game. And that actually, and I was unaware of this, sparked many conspiracy theories that this is actually a secret Kojima game, because Hideo Kojima is known to do this type of stuff, to kind of mess with people and do these like weird reveals where people think it's a new studio, they think it's a brand new game, but it's actually Kojima Productions making some type of you know, horror game, like what we saw with PT, then making Silent Hill. And Kojima did the same thing with the reveal of Metal Gear Solid 5, which was very interesting. So let's go over this rumor. Let's talk about this. It says, and this is reading from Push Square, "We all felt here at Push Square Towers that something seemed fishy with the announcement of PlayStation 5 exclusive Abandoned, and clearly we are not the only ones. The web is currently awash with conspiracy theories as the seemingly innocent survival game attracts enormous attention. But is there more than meets the eye here, or is it genuinely the work of an unknown Dutch indie team? For those who missed the news earlier, Abandoned was announced as a cinematic survival sim on the PlayStation blog. It was billed as a PlayStation 5 exclusive, prompting promotion on all of Sony's social channels. It's not unusual for the platform holder to spotlight upcoming software like this, but something felt off with the announcement that we couldn't quite put our finger on. For starters, there's virtually no information on Dutch developer Blue Box Game Studios anywhere on the web. The studio's entire history, from what we've been able to figure out, includes a failed Kickstarter and a smartphone app. It did have a website a few years ago, but this was filled with placeholder graphics and can only be accessed through archive.org. It's under development right now. Meanwhile, its social media accounts have been abandoned for 5 years now, and there's no mention of this project at all. There's something fishy about a studio announcing a massive project that's due out this year, but not even acknowledging the game's existence anywhere online at all. Furthermore, game director Hassan Karaman, if I'm saying that correctly, has practically no presence on the internet. We did find a LinkedIn profile registered by someone who works at BBGS, which we assume is an acronym for Blue Box Game Studios, but the page includes no other information. There's no education background and no work history at all, so it is admittedly bizarre. Of course, this is where the conspiracy theories come in. Many have likened this scenario to Moby Dick Studios, which was a Hideo Kojima ruse used to announce Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, and it employed a similar trick with the now infamous PT demo, which was presented during a Sony press conference as a random indie horror game before leading to the reveal of Silent Hills, of course. Is this the work of Kojima then? Well, we're honestly not sure. The Death Stranding developer has hinted that it's priming an announcement soon, but the abandoned trailer seems too amateur to be the work of the ex-Metal Gear man. We definitely see how people are making the connection because this is straight from the veteran's playbook, but we're yet to be convinced. Furthermore, while researching this article, VentureBeat journalist Jeff Grubb has gone on record with a report that says Kojima can't be involved because he's in talks with Microsoft to release a title on Xbox platforms. Grubb, who's fairly reliable, goes on to admit that he's uncertain whether Microsoft had closed the deal, but points to a figurine spotted on boss Phil Spencer's shelf as a potential hit. Hint, we're not making word of this up. So, yeah, I know that was a lot of information, but still, it's just very interesting to see everything that's been going on within the last 24 hours since this game was announced, because to be honest, I didn't really think much of it about the way this game was announced. I did think it was a little strange, like how much attention Sony gave to it. It did seem like they gave it more attention than they normally would for an indie game. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like a lot of this stuff that is being brought up, it really does kind of make you think, like, that's kind of strange, isn't it? Like the fact that this team is kind of just completely unknown. They're completely brand new. They have a game that's apparently scheduled to come out in Q4 2021. I even saw people in my own comment section saying that this is kind of strange. This game is supposedly in early development, but they're saying it's going to be coming out at the end of this year. There's not much time between now and then. And, I have to admit, as somebody who has been following Hideo Kojima's reveals for many years now, there are some very interesting similarities here, but I'm not necessarily convinced. And apparently this did prompt Jeff Grubb, who has been, relatively reliable in the past. It's worth noting Jeff Grubb has not been correct about everything, though. Okay, he actually has made some claims that turned out to not be true, but he's also been right about a lot of stuff. So, he's claiming that Microsoft has been trying to get a deal with Hideo Kojima, which honestly, I do not doubt, because he is independent now. And, we did see that little tease from Phil Spencer, which is mentioned here. And I'm not going to lie, like, I wouldn't normally think to myself, oh, Phil Spencer has a Luden statue next to an Xbox logo on a shelf in the background of his conference call. Whatever, probably doesn't mean anything. But the fact that he has been known to tease future announcements and reveals literally in his conference calls or when he's on video, sitting in his office, that definitely made me think, okay, maybe he is actually teasing something here. And so according to Jeff Grubb, this is something that's going to happen. So I do want to give you a little bit of a follow-up here, because apparently Blue Box Studios is insisting that they are not Hideo Kojima or Kojima Productions in disguise. So it says Blue Box Game Studios, the developer of the upcoming PS5 exclusive Abandon, has released a statement insisting it's not, in fact, Hideo Kojima in disguise. While much of the speculation was made in jest, fans had noticed something fishy about the survival game's announcement on the PS blog and wondered whether there may be more than meets the eye with the story. And so again, it references Jeff Grubb letting us know that apparently Xbox is in talks with Kojima. So here's what the Dutch developer had to say. We received several emails regarding the Hideo Kojima rumor. We have no association with Hideo Kojima, nor do we claim to have any association, nor was it our intention to claim such a statement. We are a small group of developers working on a passionate title we wanted to work on for a long time. We have been assisting other studios in the past with their projects, and we wanted to work on our very first big project. While it is true that we've been working on small projects in the past, we certainly didn't use that for marketing purposes. We hope this has clarified this matter and hope to see you all in our very first gameplay reveal of Abandoned. So, you know, the article goes on to say that they feel a little bit sorry for the team here, but ultimately this has resulted in a huge amount of attention for the game. And so, yeah, that's what's interesting here. If that, you know, this really all is just stuff that people are making up and they're connecting the dots where there are no dots to connect. This is really great for the game Abandoned and for these developers. They're probably getting way more attention than they ever imagined they could. Still, I do find it interesting, like the similarities here. And, you know, I do believe them that they weren't doing this purposely, but it's just very interesting how this all is playing out. But to end this video, I just want to talk about my opinion on, you know, or my feelings, I guess, on the idea of Kojima's next game being published by Microsoft. I'm not gonna lie, when I first read this, like, I kind of lost my mind briefly, because for those who've been following me for a little while, you know that Hideo Kojima is my favorite game creator of all time. And the only reason I lost my mind and I kind of came out and I was like, Sony, please tell me, like, are you kidding me, Sony? Like, how are you gonna let this happen? I understand that Sony does not own Kojima Productions. Kojima Productions is independent. They can do whatever they want. And for all I know, maybe Microsoft approached Kojima Productions while Death Stranding was still in development. Who knows, right? If this does turn out to be true. But it just blows my mind to imagine, you know, that the next Hideo Kojima game could be published by Microsoft and potentially not released on PlayStation. Because, you know, PlayStation's where I play, and honestly, Death Stranding was one of the biggest reasons I came back to PlayStation, because I love Hideo Kojima, and I will play any game he releases. And so I can confidently sit here and tell you that if this is true, if Kojima Productions does sign with Microsoft for their next game, and it doesn't come to PlayStation, I will be playing that game on Xbox. I will buy a Series X to play that game, no doubt about that. I already planned on getting a Series X at some point anyway for some of the other games that Microsoft has in development, like Hellblade 2, probably the next Forza Horizon, State of Decay 3, stuff like that, maybe even Fable. But the idea that Kojima's next game, we have no idea what it'll be, but if it does end up being like a horror game, like we've been speculating for some time, then yeah, day one, I'm going to be there for his next game. I do think that it's not a good look for Sony, honestly. Kojima's a big name. I know not everybody loved Death Stranding. I personally really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite games, very unique game. I understand that not everybody enjoyed it as much as me, and I understand that maybe there are some people who even feel like, well, if he's going to make something similar in the vein of what we got with Death Stranding, then I don't really care too much. But still, I think that Sony getting Kojima to make an exclusive game for PS4, even if it was a timed exclusive before it went to PC, I think it was a big deal. You know, it was a big get, and it would just be so crazy to me to think that Sony wouldn't push to really publish Kojima's next game, considering how good their relationship has been. But then again, you know, we know that Microsoft has endless amounts of money. Maybe they just offer Kojima and Kojima Productions something, you know, an offer they can't refuse. You know, I can't fault Kojima for being, you know, if he is offered full creative freedom and just a massive budget that he could only dream of, right? Couldn't fault him at all for deciding to go with Xbox on this one, if that's the case. So we're going to see if this turns out to be true or not. It's coming from Jeff Grubb. He certainly has some credibility, so I'm not just going to, you know, write this one off and say, oh, it's nothing, who cares? I'm just going to say, let's wait and see what happens. But yeah, a lot of really interesting stuff happening around this game Abandoned. And so at this point, I want you guys to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I want you to let me know what you think about all of this. Do you think that there is any connection truly with this game Abandoned, or do you not see it? Do you believe that these developers that are coming out here saying we have no association with Kojima? And do you believe Jeff Grubb when he says that this can't be associated with Kojima because Microsoft is actually trying to sign him for their next game? And how would you feel about that? if it turned out to be true. I'm going to be very interested to see what you guys have to say, so leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.